Mike Steed is the pitching coach of the Clingstones. He's in his 5th season in the organization, 2nd year here in Columbus. He started in Augusta, then went to Rome. He's just progressed up the ladder like a pitcher, for crying out loud. Look at him. And he is kind enough to join us again. We were able to talk with you a little bit last year. How are you?
I'm great. I appreciate you having me again.
Absolutely. Well, I love talking pitching. So if you got a meeting in there for a little while, you better come, better postpone a little bit. Well, I tell you, I love the development stories. We were talking before we went back on about some of them. And I want to start with Brett Sears, who we had on the show earlier. I love his story. I love a kid who's a little bit older, who has gotten better and is kind of, he's got to be on the radar, Mike. He's got to be getting on the radar here, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the stuff he's done this year is pretty impressive, obviously. And, from being a lower draft, not prospect, and you said it, he's taken the opportunity that he's been presented. And, he works at his craft daily. The fastball is pretty impressive. And you can see that by the numbers he's put up so far this year. And I think he just keeps doing what he does, stays healthy. He keeps getting outs. That's the main thing.
Did he just get stronger? Is that where the extra little tab of velo is coming from?
I think so. He's maturing physically, obviously. He's old, like you said, he's an older guy. Always tweaking his routine. I think he's found something that's keeping him healthy, keeping him strong. I think he really understands his body and his arm, knows when to back off, or step on it. And he's been able to maintain his strength to date.
It's something to watch. But interesting part about this to me is you as a pitching coach, when you're dealing with a pitcher who doesn't have 98 and they come to you and say, Coach Mike, I'm only at 92. I don't know if I'm going to get there. And they are smart enough to know that the word velocity is king, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
I think you always, first and foremost, I think you can build stuff with everyone. I think you just got to watch how they move, talk to them, get them to buy in how their body moves to maximize their fullest potential. But if they are a 92, 93 guy, I think understanding how to make the ball move, where to throw it, understand where you get your misses from, maybe just tweak some slot, tweak some release heights, anything like that, just to create some deception. That's kind of the message going for. And, I think those guys, although they have to be a little more precise, can still get outs and serve a purpose.
Do you have those conversations on a regular basis? Do kids come to you worried about that?
Not a ton at this level.
Okay.
I think I've been fortunate and had a lot of older guys that they know who they are. Yeah. They know what makes them successful. They see it, with the Atlanta Braves pitching staff, with other pitching staffs in the big leagues. And, yes, it's great if you throw 98, 99. I think you can be successful throwing 93, 95.
I hope more kids are buying into that. Don't you?
I do. I do. Like I said, I love velocity.
I
really do.
I know.
I think it's super important, but I also like guys that know how to pitch with it.
Yeah. Well, because my fear about what's going on today, and I'm old school, I think we're about the same age, is that all the kids are drafted or that are thinking about being a draft pick or want to be a draft pick or want to be in college or want to continue pitching are going to think, God, I got to pitch harder. I got to pitch harder. And how is that not going to lead to more injuries? Because if they just go out there and say, all right, I'm at even, and I was thinking about this recently. I was having a conversation with someone, even kids that want to be on a high school team, Mike, who think, oh, well, this guy on the other side of town, he's throwing 91.
Sure.
And he's the best player in town, and I'm throwing 87. And I know, hey, they can work out, they get stronger, they allow their body to take over, but they can also do things mechanically that can screw them up and send them to the doctor. Am I wrong about that?
No, not at all. I think guys that can chase velocity at a young age can be prone to some injuries. I do believe life's progression builds your velocity.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of young kids, how do I throw harder? And I just tell them to grow up. And they seem like a cop-out, but sometimes that is. I think the biggest thing is understanding that. And that's what I love about the Braves organization is I think movement's a big deal with your body, how you move, what is the right movement for your body, on top of all the numbers that we get and we're inundated with. So, I think just learning kids learning how to move right is the biggest thing. It'll come.
Sure, absolutely. But it must be fulfilling to you to see someone like a Brett Sears who is obviously taking a next step.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you've met him, you've talked to him. I mean, he's got a great personality. Him and I have, built a very good relationship over the last couple of years. So, yeah, I'm excited for what's ahead of him.
Absolutely. I hope he's in big league camp for sure. I want to ask you about some other kids that you've had. Lucas Braun just got traded to Kansas City. Don't tell anybody, but I actually texted Kansas City general manager, who used to be the farm director of the Braves, and said, "You got a good kid there. Can't get a better kid than Lucas Braun, right?" But I mean, he seems like he made some real good progress with you and in AAA as well.
He did. It's bittersweet. I texted him too. I talked to him the day after he, was traded, and he's excited. I think like all of them, we all, they all want to pitch for the Braves in the big leagues, but they want to pitch in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good opportunity for him. It obviously helped our club. I think it helped Lucas, and yeah, he was a Brave since I've been a Brave, and we kind of year to year we always kidded around. He'd go up, and I said, "I want to see you again," and he came back down, and just he's matured so much. It's he's again another one that I think we're going to see before the end of the year.
Yeah,
pitching the big leagues.
I think so too. I think JJ's going to put him up there, which is awesome. Help me with the last name, Cedric De Grandpre.
De Grandpre.
Yeah,
a good Canadian boy.
All right. So one thing that sticks out to me, I'll talk to you about that in a minute. So innings pitched. I love that, and he goes deep in games, doesn't he?
He does. That's one thing. He's again talk about maturing, and he was a junior college draft and coming through, had some injury. Obviously, he came back stronger. I think the injury, to be honest with you, helped him in terms of just routines and what he needs to take care of, how he needs to do it. And that's not a knock against Ced, but I think he's really impressed the heck out of me, coming here and just the maturity that he showed. And he's throwing it over the plate. He's got really good stuff. He challenges hitters. And, a lot of times he beats a lot of barrels. So
125 strikeouts leading the organization.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's very good.
What's his stuff been like?
I mean, the fastball is, forcing two seams, got a cutter. I mean, he's got a kitchen sink. The curveball is an above average pitch, and that's kind of his go-to.
Yeah.
I think he's continually working on the changeup, which as he moves levels and gets closer to the big leagues, I think that's going to be a big pitch for him as well.
Yeah.
Especially off the fastball. And the slider wrinkle in there too, which he started using a little bit more here in Double-A, showed that it can be a swing and miss pitch.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's pretty impressive, the strikeout numbers. All right, Owen Murphy started the season with you. Then he got popped up to AAA. He's kind of been on the yo-yo a little bit. But what were your thoughts of what you saw with your time with him here? And, of course, you've had him before, right?
I did. I had him, when he was drafted that class. And, again, I think young kid, just maturing. I think he knows how to pitch, knows what he wants to do. I think now it's a matter of his body doing what his brain wants it to. And again, I keep going back to maturity. But we've got some good young arms, and you can see it night to night when they go out there that the maturity level, especially with up in AAA, facing more advanced hitters, and take his lumps, but he comes right back and learns from it.
Yeah. Well, I hope he'll take what he accomplished in the big leagues and kind of run with it too. Drew Hackenberg has had some injury issues since he's been in the system. But you had him for a couple of games before he went up to AAA. Yeah. But I mean, he if he's healthy, he's looking a little different right now. Am I right about that?
Yeah, he's healthy and he's just simplified his delivery, simplified his thoughts on how to get people out. The stuff's coming back, like it was when he was drafted. So there's just throw him into the bag too of guys that are like I said before off air knocking, maybe knocking on the door.
Yeah,
soon.
Absolutely. And another one, like Burkhalter. Yeah. I mean, he was here last year when I interviewed you a bunch, and it sounded like at that point that Blake was a little in the middle of what he was going to do. I don't know if they knew what they wanted him to do as far as stay in the rotation or go to the bullpen, and but he seems to now have found a little bit of a home again. That's what he did in Auburn, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah, I think I love it that he's in the bullpen. For me, knowing Blake, getting to know Blake, obviously again 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I think he's understood now what he needs to do to his body to be a reliever, to work 2-3 days a week.
Yeah.
And, one inning stints or, 1+. So I really extremely happy for him for what he's gone through and, just his path to get where he is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think a lot of people were surprised when he wasn't put on the 40-man roster last year. He may have been surprised too, but it's like I kept on hoping they would just put him in the bullpen. That's no knock on him, not saying that he can't start,
Right.
but it just sounded like from talking to him last year and knowing his history that was his sweet spot. And you think that is?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. I see him out of the bullpen, and I think that's where, his value to the Braves. I think that's where it is.
All right, and Herick Hernandez made 11 starts for you before they popped him up at AAA, 2.80 ERA, and he did pretty well for you, didn't he?
He did. He really did. Again, he's was a college guy, but he's still young. He's a young college draft.
Yeah.
So I think obviously, Herrick's got the stuff. Again, he's got a fastball that's can beat a lot of hitters or whatever. I think it's just a matter of for him maturing with his non-fastballs and secondary stuff, just a full repertoire and seeing it in Gwinnett. Watched a couple times in games. And, he's kind of the total package too.
Mike, when you saw Owen Murphy get to the big leagues, and I know you've been around JR too, so JR getting there earlier this year and obviously having an impact on that team. What does it mean for you to see those kids that you work with to get up there?
It's exciting. I mean, Mulder, been around a long time, different levels, and anytime, somebody reaches, one of the pinnacles, their goals, it's fulfilling, and I'm excited for them. I see how excited they are when they're doing interviews or, when they're on the field, and I think that's kind of what it's all about. You want the best for them moving forward, and it's like I always tell them, I said, you made it there, now keep working to stay there.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, there's two parts of it: getting there and staying there.
100%.
Right?
You got it. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, and it's two battles too. I mean, it's great that you get there, and it is a battle in itself. But man, you have got to battle like crazy every day for a while before. And it's interesting about when you see players get over that hump, when they've made it to where they won't have to worry about going back down or anything. I love that. Don't you?
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. All right. You mentioned Canada. So are you and Hartman going out and eating different things now since Hartman's here from Canada?
I think we might have to find a poutine place around the corner or whatever while we're here. Yeah, it's Canadian delicacy. But, it's neat to have him here. It's great to have Brookman here. Before it's the move, whatever. But and De Grandpre, it's fun to see the Canadian guys, especially in Braves uniforms.
So do you still live in Canada also?
I do. I live just outside Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I asked Eric, and I'll ask you. So I'm from South Georgia, and obviously our show's on in the southern half of Georgia, and it literally sounds like a different world to us. It's like, okay, it's like Antarctica up there. It's so cold there. But every time I read and see things, it's like I was reading a little bit about Eric's hometown. It sounds beautiful up there.
It is. I mean, we have seasons, which is nice. It gets a little cold in the wintertime, but it's 85, 90 degrees in Niagara Falls right now, and it's summertime.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful.
That's awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I love talking pitching. I'll let you get back to your job, but congratulations on doing a great job getting these pitchers ready. I tell people all the time, every time there's someone who makes their debut, I'm like, there are scouts, there are coaches who have put work in to get these kids to where they are at, and I try to encourage fans to always think of you guys when that happens, because I know the work that goes into getting a kid to the big leagues.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you.